YouTube, today I will be matchmaking the entire light heavyweight division. We already have the championship fight. We do have Yuri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. And honestly, guys, do I love the fight? It's a good fight. It's a good fight. I'm excited. I do wish it was Yuri versus, Magomed Ankalaev. However, I'm fine with a Yuri versus Ulberg title fight. If Alex Pereira were staying in the division, I would want it to be Ulberg. But he's not, so I thought you could have done the number one versus number two. And also kind of how the division's been playing out, you're kind of putting Magomed in a weird spot. But it is what it is. I'm excited for this fight. I think Yuri wins this rather comfortably, to be honest. I know how much of a hot streak that, Yuri Prochazka, or how much of a hot streak Carlos Ulberg has been on. However, I'm not necessarily too worried about that, weirdly, for Yuri. Yuri's just, he's an odd cat. You know what I mean? And if you really can't figure out how to fight him, it's going to be a really tough day for you at the office. And I don't think Ulberg's got it like that. I don't think he's going to be able to, Ulberg, whenever I watch him fight, he's super strict in his movements. You know what I mean? He doesn't flow. It's all very calculated, very tight. He's not a loose fighter when he fights. And Yuri is the complete antithesis of it. Yuri flows like water when he fights, okay? He's a samurai warrior. So for me to expect Carlos Ulberg to go out there and mog a guy like Yuri is really tough for me to predict. And I also don't think that Ulberg has the power to go knock out Yuri. I think personally Ulberg lost to Jan Blachowicz 6 months ago, and Jan Blachowicz isn't very good anymore, guys, okay? Honestly, I'm always a fan of the vets, so I'm a big fan of Jan Blachowicz, but you go watch that Bogdan Guskov fight, he's not that good anymore. He just has a jab, okay? And I actually had freaking that guy going out and beating Carlos Ulberg, but it is what it is. I really hope Yuri gets the belt. He's got a great shot here. Should be a really fun fight. And we're only 2 weeks away from it, guys. We're really getting close here. Okay, on to the next fight. I know this might look weird giving Volkan Oezdemir like a number one contenders fight. However, if you kind of look at the rest of the division, it's the only thing that kind of makes sense. I mean, Magomed has to fight. I don't want him to wait for the winner of like a Azamat versus Paulo Costa. I don't want him to wait that long. I mean, that means we would be waiting at least 10 months before, or 11 months at the minimum before you see Magomed get back in the cage. Like, I like to see Magomed fight at least, in late June, you know what I mean, maybe July, and putting up against a guy that he could very easily beat, a guy like Volkan Oezdemir. I don't think that Volkan would really have anything for Magomed Ankalaev. However, you get him back in the win column and get him back into the title picture. It's just something that I think that you should do. Magomed is a really, really high-quality fighter, and I want him to fight the winner of this fight. I really do. I think the winner of Magomed versus Yuri, and that's the problem with the UFC nowadays. They're not trying to actually get their best fighters in there against the best. Okay, first off, Magomed shouldn't be fighting a guy like Volkan Oezdemir. He should have been fighting Jan Blachowicz, okay? Or he could have been fighting Azamat Murzakanov. Both of those would have been fine fighters. However, you decide to book both of those guys up and leave Magomed out of anything. And I'm saying that you need to fight him against somebody, and it wouldn't make sense for him to wait all that much longer, so I'm just giving him the only winning guy available left. Like, I'm not going to give him a Khalil Roundtree, who's on a... Is it a 2 or 3? I think it's on a 2-fight losing streak. That doesn't make sense to put Khalil in a number one contenders fight like this. However, I would like to see Magomed fight Volkan Oezdemir, and I think he'd be able to get a finish and kind of get his hype back up. I do think he's probably either the best or second best fighter in this division, and it's criminal that we're not giving him a better fight. And it is what it is. All right, on to the next fight. We have Khalil Roundtree versus Nikita Krylov. Again, one of those kind of weird matchups, However, you look at the state of the light heavyweight division, it's really hard to matchmake people. Again, this could have easily been Khalil versus Azamat Murzakanov and Jan versus Ankalaev. 2 fights I would way rather see. However, Nikita Krylov is actually coming off of a win. I know he just got knocked out by Dominic Reyes. However, I do think to keep Khalil's star power kind of up, he does need to get a win. And I'm not even doing it for that. I'm just doing it because I think it's the only matchup that makes sense. You can't do Jamal Hill. Bogdan Guskov's booked. Volkan Oezdemir's booked, like I'm saying, with Magomed. Dominic Reyes is booked. Alexander Rakic is on a million fight losing streak. Johnny Walker's booked, and Nikita Krylov is the only guy available. And Khalil fought on the same day as Magomed and Goliath, so it's not like we have a bunch of time for these guys. They haven't fought, and I think it would be, what, it was October. So it's coming up on 6 months that these guys haven't fought. So it's time for them to get back in the cage, and I think that they could both get free wins here. Man, that really does look like Gene Silva on Khalil Roundtree's stomach. But, and then maybe you could see a Magomed versus Roundtree if they both win this fight, and I think both of them would. It's like you can make these Fight Night main events and get their star power back up. I feel like we're just making stupid matchups. However, I'm just doing with what's the hand being dealt to me, and I think that these are the fights that actually do make sense that are left. All right, on to the next fight, Blachowicz versus Guskov 2. I know that they drew. However, Jan doesn't have that much more time, to be fighting. He's got 1, max 2 good fights left in him. Maybe 1. Honestly, this is probably his last high-quality fight, or this last fight that you just saw could have been his last high-quality fight. I'm picking Bogdan Guskov. He's the younger man. He should be able to win this fight, Blachowicz is 42 years old. He's on the end. I think you should have gave him that one final push-up in the rankings. You should have gave him Magomed. It's just so Blachowicz versus Guskov. He's kind of getting disrespected. Guskov's gonna beat him, and then now he's gonna be a top 5 light heavyweight, which I'm not against. Get new blood in there, but again, not a fight that needed to be remade. However, we remade it, and we're gonna get Guskov into the top 5 after this. Really hoping Jan wins though. On to the next fight, we have Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. I have no idea what Paulo Costa has done to deserve this. He had a boring fight versus Strickland. I know he beat, who was it? Oh my gosh. Roman Kopylov. He beat Roman Kopylov, who's number 15 at middleweight. It's not a necessarily impressive win, and we're putting him in the top 6 of light heavyweight for what? If I was matching up Paulo Costa, I would put him up against Alexander Rakic. You know what I mean? That could get him a win. And it's also like a somewhat big fight, somewhat of a test. You know what I mean? Because Rakic isn't bad. He just got a paper chin. So it's like the same thing with Costa. It would be an interesting fight, but I think Mirzakhanov honestly sparks out Paulo Costa, and I don't know where this puts him in the division. I don't know where this puts him, because I guess you have to put Magomed on ice for that long, right? Which sucks for Magomed. Magomed shouldn't, because he's gonna have to wait a year before his next fight. It's ridiculous, but I'm gonna take Mirzakhanov in this fight. I don't think that Paulo could finish him. I don't know if he's got that pop. But this is an interesting fight. This is a good fight. All right, on to the next fight. We have Jamal Hill versus Dustin Jacoby. Guys, this division is so dry. It's really hard to make fights at the latter half of the division. However, Jamal Hill's really good. Why did I say that? Jamal Hill's good. He's a former champ. He's got good power. But he's on a bad losing streak right now, and he needs to fight down in the rankings. He just does. He doesn't need to fight, who would be a quote-unquote big fight. He doesn't need to fight anyone with a name right now. He needs to fight someone who's really low in the rankings and give it to a guy who's on a winning streak like Dustin Jacoby. He deserves it. Maybe he can build his name off Jamal Hill, or maybe this is Jamal Hill's shot to actually get a knockout, It's tough. I actually do like Jamal Hill. I mean, his tattoos are really ugly. I don't know if that's something symbolic to him. I'm sorry if it is, but I don't get the hands thing. It's a bit odd. I like to see Jamal Hill back in the win column. I think he would win this fight. It sucks that I'm making all these lopsided matchups, but I mean, for the cards that the UFC is dealing me here, this is about all I got. But I'm not going to keep on complaining. All right, on to the next fight. We have Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. This is a super fun fight, I think this is exactly what both these fighters should be getting at this point in their career. Johnny got his crazy big win versus Zhang Bin Yang. I mean, who saw that coming? That was ridiculous. A calf kick TKO. I mean, Joe Rogan was probably losing his mind. Versus Dominic Reyes, who, just got knocked out by Carl Solberg. I'm probably going to pick Dominic Reyes here. Again, I mean, I can say the classic, whoever's champ gets touched first. This will be a fun fight. This will be a fun fight. You'll be on your feet for this one. You'll be telling your boys about this one. This will be a good fight. I'm really excited for this one. On to the next fight. We have the aforementioned Alexander Rakic versus Jan Cutelaba. It's like, Rakic, you're on a 4-fight losing streak. Did you guys know that? Did you guys actually know that he's on a 4-fight losing streak? Let's pull this up so I can show you guys. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. This is bad. This is bad. His losses are to... Okay, he's got great losses. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, these losses are phenomenal. Okay? Like, these are some of the best guys in the entire division. But he hasn't won a fight since 2021. That's really bad. So I think fighting someone like a Jan Cutelaba, who's kind of right on the outside of those rankings, you know, he's not a great fight. I mean, he's a win-loss fighter in the UFC. But he just got to... I mean, he looked good against Omar Sy. I think if you're going to ever push him up and give him a shot at the rankings, I think it's this. And I think him against Rakic... I mean, it's really... Rakic should absolutely be able to win this fight. There's no reason Rakic should lose this. And you get Rakic back. You just need guys on winning streaks in light heavyweight. It's a rarity nowadays, other than Azmat. I feel like all these guys are just losing. They're just... I don't know how everyone in this division is on a losing streak. Like... Well, let's go through it. Losing, winning, winning, losing, draw, winning, losing, draw, winning. Okay, I guess it doesn't sound as bad, but I feel like the matchups just don't make sense. All right, on to the final fight of the day. We have Zhang Yang versus Alonzo Minifield. This is a good fight. Zhang Yang should have to fight out of the rankings. I'm glad they didn't keep pushing him up. I'm glad they didn't give him like an Alexander Rakic, which would be a free win. He's fighting out of the rankings. This is a good fight. I think Zhang Yang is still I think he's a top 8 fighter in this division. Let me look at my rankings overall for this division here. I would expect, I have Zhang Yang actually at number 7. I have Alex Pereira, Yuri Prohaska, Ankalaev, Olberg, Khalil Roundtree, Azmat. That's pretty low for Azmat, but I kind of get it. I think Roundtree would probably be able to style, but yeah, this is. I think this is the fight to make. I'm pro. I think Zhang Yang is going to show himself how he's still a top 7 fighter in light heavyweight. I think he just kind of got fluked by Johnny Walker. I think he's going to figure out. I think he'll be back. And I'm excited for Johnny. I'm excited for Zhang Yang to be back. Anyways, guys, this is my video matchmaking the entire light heavyweight division. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys later.